Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 86. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Kevin Ardall and Sean Beatty. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean Beatty. Kev is at C2Believe, SCA2Believe on Twitter. Like our videos, comment on YouTube. Tell us what you think of all the topics we talk about. Gentlemen, we are going to have to talk about a very serious matter to start off with, and it involves baseball fandom. I don't know if you guys have seen this clip going around the Twitter sphere, but this man made a straw out of a hot dog at the Yankees game. And, engineering wise, I will hand it to this man. That is engineering at its finest. He just makes a very solid tunnel for the beer to travel through. But is this a sin? Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, it's not engineering. He has a straw to make the hole in the hot dog. Like, he made it harder and it tastes worse. No, burn it in a fire. Unacceptable. Arrest him.
Kevin?
Who dips their hot dog in beer?
Nobody.
Like, no one. This is
You might cook it in beer if you're like on a grill maybe or something, or in a pan.
I'd feel sorry for him, but I mean, he's a Yankees fan, so I get the stupidity level. But
you might have a tasty beer, and now you've just made your tasty beer taste like hot dog. Like, that's not what I want my beer to taste like. Is hot. Matthew, you've ever been drinking a beer and be like, you know what I want this to taste like aftertaste? A little bit of a hot dog.
Well, first of all, I never want to drink beer with a straw, so that's just the weirdest part to me to begin with. Like, why are we using a straw at all?
He didn't have to.
Yeah, he didn't have to
without it, but he had a straw to make a straw. I don't get it.
Who goes and asks for hot dog flavored water? Nobody. So why the hell would you ask for hot dog flavored beer? Like, it's just gross.
That's disgusting.
All right, so I think we've all come to a conclusion. Please arrest that man. Somebody point him out on Twitter, find that man and arrest him. Let's talk about some of the Seattle sports real quick. The Reign won 4-1 in their most recent game against New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC. They are back in action on Saturday at 4 p.m. in Orlando. So check them out on Paramount Plus if you have that service available. Also wanted to mention the Seattle Sounders have been in a bit of a struggle recently. Now, I was watching their game on Friday and they were down 2-0, and I was like, I can't watch this anymore. And then I came back a little later and it was tied 3-3, and that's how it ended. So, they were able to salvage a tie, but that is a tough way to go about it. So they tied 3-3 with LA Galaxy FC. Their next game is on Friday and it is in Portland. So we all need to support the Sounders because Portland is the biggest rival. This is the Cascadia Cup. We cannot allow Portland to win this game. So please support the Sounders. They are on ESPN on Friday at 7 p.m. in Portland. So support the Sounders as they try and destroy the Portland Timbers and earn the Cascadia Cup, at least in this match. But gentlemen,
Matthew,
I want to talk.
Matthew, you missed out. The Reign won the Women's Cup, the 2022 World Cup, Women's Cup, like essentially the Supporter Shield one. I was like, didn't they win the cup? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Like their in-season tournament. Yeah, that's what they won. They won that 2 days ago.
That's Matthew.
Oh,
they won that 2 days ago.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for correcting me. I was on their website and they didn't even have the result from the 14th. So that's why I was very confused.
I was watching women's soccer. What's up? Boom. Reign, I got you. I couldn't remember the name of it. I was like, what was the name of it again? So I had to look it up.
All right. Well, Reign bringing home a title. Well done.
There you go.
Well done.
There you go.
I did want to highlight the Seattle Storm as well. So Root needs to get its act together because the app has not been working for me the past couple of days. So figure that out, Root.
Me too.
But instead, I watched the Storm game yesterday, and they were able to sweep the Washington Mystics with a 97-84 win at Climate Pledge Arena. Both Brianna Stewart and Sue Bird had a double-double. They are moving on to a best-of-5 series with the Las Vegas Aces, the number 1 seed overall. This is a team that has beaten the Storm, I believe, every game this season, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no. The Storm have taken at least one game. So this is the semifinals, big series for the Storm as Sue Bird tries to wrap up her career with the title. So it starts next Sunday is the semifinals. So I believe they'll probably be on ESPN. So please support the Seattle Storm as well as they go and try and send Sue Bird out with the title. Kevin, have you watched any Storm basketball?
This is not a Storm basketball jersey, but No, I have not, unfortunately. I have been working. I've been keeping up with the scores though. So I've been monitoring it on my ESPN app. Since I've been working through most of it, sadly. So hopefully they can pull it off against the Aces. The Aces are very good. I think they've, like I said, 1 or 2 games this season is all we've been able to take away from them. So hopefully some super magic and her team just, goes, crazy trying to get her, a final ring, final trophy type of deal. And just plays their A plus game and takes down the Aces. So we'll see what happens.
Sean, you watched any Storm basketball?
I did. I caught the second half. Sue Bird still got it. Let's put it that way. She's still pretty good. So yeah, let's see her get past the Aces and try to get another ring.
Yeah, I mean the starting lineup with Jewel Lloyd, Tina Charles, Gabby Williams, they're all playing very well. Gabby did go down with an injury, but hopefully she'll be back for the next series. So good luck to the Storm, and we'll be supporting them as they continue their playoff run. But gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about. Oh wait, sorry, I want to get on one more basketball topic before I left that. I don't know how many NBA fans are out there that watch our show, or even if I might be the only one in this podcast, but Jason Tatum, LeBron James, and a handful of NBA players were in Seattle on Saturday to play in the crossover, which is Jamal Crawford's like pro-am tournament that he hosts in Seattle every year. And man, if I lived in Seattle, I probably would have tried to go out myself. But there was people lined up at as soon as it was announced, like 2,000 people were lined up outside Seattle Pacific University. Unfortunately, the game was not able to be concluded because of the floor being too wet. I never read why the floor was wet and unplayable and unsafe, but it was cool to have LeBron James back here. I hear the last time you played here was, I believe it was 08 when he was still with the Cavs. And that was the year that Ray Allen was leading the team, and I believe the Sonics won that game. So I think if there were any indication to the NBA that Seattle deserves a team, I think that this could very much show why they deserve a team. And not only that, you had Chet Holmgren, second overall pick there. You had Paolo Banchero, O'Day alum, who also raised the 12th man flag. So he was there as well, number 1 overall pick, Seattle native. I actually watched him play in high school in 2020, right before the pandemic. So that was cool. So a lot of Seattle talent was out there. DeJounte Murray, player for the San Antonio Spurs. So a lot of good players. Isaiah Thomas, formerly of the Boston Celtics. So there were a lot of good players out there. And if there were any indication to the NBA that bring back the Sonics, I think that was very much a telling thing of this is a basketball city and they should absolutely bring it back. Sean, any comment on that?
Yeah, it was absolutely packed. I guess they said the floor was so hot in there because they didn't anticipate so many people and it'd be so packed. I don't know why they didn't, but it felt like it was like they said like playing on ice, so they didn't want to twist anything and do anything. And I did see Chet kind of Holmgren came down limp trying to block LeBron one time. I think that was more of them running into each other rather than the floor, but I don't think any NBA team wants anybody pulling something or rolling an ankle. So I guess LeBron said about right before like 5 minutes left before the half, they're like, let's just kind of get out of there. And I don't blame them. I feel bad for the fans, but I was like, I know that they wanted to see more, but another 15 or so minutes probably isn't worth it for those guys. So I did see on Twitter that Lywicki owner and guy who owns part of the stadium said next year you're playing in the Key Arena. We're not playing there, so they're going to have they're going to host the
Climate Pledge Arena.
Climate Pledge Arena at the. They're going to hold the tournament at the Key Arena, and hopefully all those guys will come out next year and play on a real court. And I'd say
and admission is usually free, so that would be interesting if they like sold tickets or if they made it free. Still, that would be interesting.
Or make it like $5, and then so you can do something like something super cheap, so anybody can go.
Yeah, Kevin, any thoughts on crossover?
Oh, yeah, like I saw videos of the lineup, like people lining up for it, and it was crazy because people were tweeting on Twitter like, how can you not say Seattle doesn't need a basketball team when there's just the line was nutty. And especially since now that Climate Pledge Arena has been, or Key Arena, for now Climate Pledge has been, redone. It's nice. It could fit the basketball team, just share it with the Kraken. There's no reason to, honestly, other than getting an owner in here. Yeah, Jesus. Packed. That's, you could easily, I think if you did something like this at Climate Pledge, you could easily fill out.
What if a hard ball goes down by the paint and then just into the crowd, like right there underneath the basket?
Mm-hmm.
I assume most people would try and catch the player.
But
stop the fall. Now, if LeBron falls on you, it's probably gonna hurt. So
I was gonna say they're like 6'8". Like that's not like,
yeah.
You're by catching me, you eat the dude to the face is what's gonna happen. Like I know
clearly,
they're not trying. I know they're not going the hardest, but still, like
when it's that packed, and honestly, you could have probably got more out of it in Climate Pledge. It makes sense for it to now be
just move up to the next
So,
well, bring back the Sonics. I don't know how else you could say that anymore. But let's move on to some National Football League, and we have been off for a couple weeks, so I'm going to recap the 2 preseason games really quick. The Seahawks lost 32-25 in the opener in Pittsburgh. Both Drew Lock, Geno Smith played. I'm not really going to go down the stats here. And the second one, it was at home last Thursday. The Bears won 27-11. Geno played, I believe, most of the first half. I didn't watch it, so I honestly can't tell you about that. But I want to ask you guys, did you watch any of it? And is there anything you have taken away from it? Kevin, I'll throw it to you first.
I did not watch either of them because I was at work for both of them. I watched the highlights on YouTube and looked over the box score and stuff like that. From the first game, that was a little bit, more close, I guess you could say. You could kind of tell that Drew Lock had a little bit more in him quarterback wise, because that's kind of the big talk, like who's going to make quarterback, even though it doesn't really matter. If it's not Russell Wilson back there, it don't matter. I think Drew Lock probably kind of has the upper edge at the moment, even though currently they still have Geno taking group 1 reps, A squad reps. And then, of course, he didn't play in the second game because he had COVID. So it was Eason who, surprisingly, Eason was slinging it. He had some pretty solid straight, some bullets. That was kind of interesting to see from what I could see from the highlights. Things to take away from it. Defense is still a hot pile of poo-poo. It's definitely going to be interesting to see that develop over, and usually that's kind of how our seasons always start out. Our defense is always kind of a big pile of, even back with the Legion of Boom, we usually had like one game or two that we were kind of like a little shaky, or like in games that would start out like the first 3 series, we would be super just rusty, shaky, and then they lock it down type deal. But now, since it's not LB back there, I think you're going to see, I think it's going to take longer. Maybe by mid-season, you might see a little bit more unity and a little bit better play out of them. Some things to take away: the run game looks, good. Is it a reason to run it 80% of the time? No. Is it a reason to draft Kenneth Walker in the second round? No. Especially since he did the poorest when he did play out of the 3 running backs that were the main 3. Homer and DJ Dallas look phenomenal, especially for an offense that's predictable, because you're not going to really throw the ball that much, so they're probably going to have more stacked box defense around them. They looked very good, and kind of showed the reason as to why you don't need to draft your running back in the second round, because you can. It's not about what yes, sure Ken Walker was, voted the best college running back last year, but doesn't matter. If you have a good O-line and a solid running back, you can still have a good running game. You don't need to go get that. And honestly, look at Super Bowls in the last, we won't get far into that, but running game has nothing to do with it. Charles Cross had a very good night the first week. I didn't get to look at his stats for week 2, but I was glad to see what he did. I think I didn't think he had any blown coverage that I saw from the stats I was seeing. I think he had like one hurry and that was it the whole night, if he even had that. And then the WSU kid, I didn't get to see any stats on him, but the O-line looked decent, like pass blocking wise. So I guess good on that. But like I said, I only saw the highlights. I didn't see the whole game, so there probably were moments where it did look bad. So no DK, no Tyler, so people are going to poop their pants. I think the offense will look a little bit better with them, but at the same time too, you have to have somebody good throwing to them. So other than that, I will pass it off to Senor Sean.
I'll take it before Sean does. So he probably has more to say about than I do. I haven't really I watched some highlights on Sports Center for the most part. I haven't really watched anything else outside of that. I've heard some things about how players have done. Like I've seen people being impressed with Charles Cross, Abe Lucas, some of the other offensive linemen, Jake Curran. But overall, this year I really haven't put much stock in the preseason outside of slight fantasy news, which is also very rare in the preseason. But overall, I'm just very curious to see how this team looks week 1. We'll talk about the next preseason game in a little bit, but and what we want to see. But I just don't really have much interest in the preseason, just because these are just guys fighting for positions. While I was last week, I watched both episodes of Hard Knocks, and if you watch that show, you can like think that the Lions are going 16-0 now. That's not happening. And watching Dan Campbell as a coach, that seems like a guy that people want to run through a wall for, but is talent there? We'll certainly find out. I think the Lions are going to be better, but preseason probably is not going to tell us that anyways. So I do want to see Drew Lock get some reps in this next one, but again, we'll talk about the Cowboys game here a little bit. Sean, what have you thought of the first 2 games?
Okay, so I will say, actually, I did see a stat that shows that preseason win-loss record does actually have correlation to regular season stats. So it was actually discovered in the NBA first, and then there's like, I wonder if it's the same in the NFL. And it is. It's not like, if you go 3-0, you're gonna go be awesome. But like,
I mean, the Ravens never lose in the preseason, so
and they're usually pretty good. And so like, it's just like there is like some correlation. It's not perfect, but there is some correlation to how you do in the preseason versus like baseball where there's almost none. But like, so they did find that there is some correlation with how you do in the preseason versus how you do in regular season. I will say, Charles Cross, Abe Lucas look like dudes. They look very good. They aren't playing starters usually, so that we do have to keep that in mind. But like what Matthew said is guys fighting for spots. What you're looking for is like barriers and understanding like who they at least they are. And it shows that Cross and Lucas are not backups. They are better than Pittsburgh's backups, and they are better than the Bears backups. So they are NFL starters. Now, where do they fall on the spectrum now is where, we'll find out during the season, but at least, you got some guys. Like these guys aren't going to be turnstiles. Are they going to be, Brown? Or are they going to be like the 32nd best guy? There's a big range there, but you're kind of looking at some guys. As for Woolen and Kobe Bryant, both done I've seen both games, by the way. I first one said I've seen both very closely. Woolen and Kobe Bryant have both shown flashes, but both shown flashes the other way too. There was one, people will look at it, the advanced numbers in the first game. I think it was Kobe Bryant got beat by remind me off the top of my head who they drafted first over in the receiver that Pittsburgh drafted.
Jahan Dotson?
No. Who did they draft? It's not Pickett, it's Pickens.
Pickens, yeah.
Yeah, he made a play. He's a dude, and he just went up and got it. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, he had good defense, but the guy made a play. Like, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, the receiver made the play because the offense always has the advantage in every play, and he just made the play. And so it's like, okay, well, that was good defense. Majority of the time, it's not going to happen. But if a guy makes a Calvin Johnson play, you know, if he mosses you every time, then it's when it's going to happen. So I don't blame that on him. He was in the right spot, made the right read, just got beat on a crazy play. So they show flashes. It's you know, they're rookies. They're not as good as Cross and Abe Lucas, but again, they were drafted. Those two guys were drafted higher. So that's kind of what you expect. You expected the guys drafted higher to be more polished. The guys later, they seem more raw, but they definitely show flashes at times of who they could be. Now, they haven't played the best receiving teams yet. Like Pittsburgh and the Bears aren't probably going to be world beaters with the receiving cores these years, but it is nice to see them at least hold it down. Kevin was right. I really like Homer and Dallas. Honestly, the running game's been fantastic across the board. So that's been nice to see. So the bad. It's everything else. The linebackers are absolutely awful in every aspect of this game. Passing, running, tackling, every single aspect. They've been just horrible. Jordan Brooks has barely played, if he even has played, but they've been absolutely awful. The defensive line has been like serviceable, I would say, but the Pittsburgh offense is terrible. Offensive line's terrible. The Bears offensive line's terrible, and they're all playing backups. And they're still not getting a ton of pressure. They're getting some, and everyone's like, man, look at this. They did this. And I'm like, well, you're playing two bad offensive lines and their backup players. Taylor, you're the starting guy for the Seahawks. You better be getting pressure against basically a third string tackle. Like, you have to. Like, Pittsburgh and Cleveland or the Bears were not good last year at this, and they didn't get any better really. So you need to be beating guys. So you need to be beating more guys. Harris, you need to be beating the guys at the middle because that's bad. Like, when you play a good offensive line, you're like, I don't see this translating. Cody Barton is that's I don't know what's going on there. I just it's not clicking. It is a mess. Jordan Brooks better be ready to do everything, and I don't know if he's ready for that. So it's just I don't know what's going on. Safety situation. I haven't really paid attention to the safeties too much because honestly we know what that situation is going to be. Like, regardless of what we view it, that they're just going to be back there. So it is what it is. I haven't really paid attention to the safeties too much. I will say more positive. Geno Smith got crapped on a lot for his game against the Bears. He played fine. I wouldn't say he played great. He played fine, but the rest of the team just was bad. Like, they're dropping balls. They weren't running very clean routes. They weren't getting open. It just wasn't going to be a good night. And like Kevin said, Jacob Eason looked good, and that shows that Jacob Eason is better than a lot of third string guys. So he's playing for a backup spot somewhere. Like, he's like, hey, I can compete with third string guys. Let me see if I can compete with second string guys, in practice and be someone's backup. That was nice to see from him. Can I talk about the trade that we made real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those that don't know, we traded Ugo Amadi for JJWS, Mr. Whiteside from the Philadelphia Eagles, the second round pick from the Eagles. So they drafted famously over DK Metcalf. And he has 600 yards in 4 years or whatever it is, or 700 yards in 4 years or something like that. So he's bad. He's been pretty bad. Been actually awful. And I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this, and I was like, it's not the idea. And I've said this on this podcast before. It is not the idea of the player. People are like, well, it's this upside guy and it's all this hype. And I go, you're missing the point. It doesn't matter who the player is. It is bad process. Ugo might not be great, but he is better than Coleman, who was, let me see here, in efficiency numbers. He was the 103rd out of 116 corners last year. He was horrible. Ugo was better. So you traded the better guy who you were probably going to cut. You should have been cutting Coleman anyways. And Blair has been awful this preseason. You cut Ugo, who were going to cut Ugo. So again, bad process. There should have been 3 other guys you should have been cutting before Ugo. So you decided you're going to cut Ugo. Well, I'll trade him to get something. I get trading for the upside guy, but at a position where You've already invested. We talked a couple years ago about how that 3-person draft class might be horrible. D. Eskridge, what happens with him now if he's your third guy? Nothing. He just finally came back to practice. You also signed Godwin in the offseason, not playing. So let's say best case scenario, Whiteside's your third receiver. That means you have failed at drafting, you failed at signing a free agent. Let's say he's your fifth receiver. Then you basically took a corner who had some value for you and turned him into a guy who's never going to get on the field for you. And then you're going to cut him next year because his contract's up. So like either way, it's bad process. There was other positions you could have done this for, like a linebacker or something like that, something you needed. If this guy plays, you have failed multiple off seasons in your process. If this guy doesn't play for you, what was the point of making the trade anyways? I don't understand. If you're going to get a guy, never play him and even look at him, who cares? Like, you didn't need to be trading Ugo for this. So it just, the process again is frustrating with Pete Carroll. This is Jerron Brown all over again. This is Philip Dorsett all over again. It's the same position, literally. Stop getting guys you know are probably bad and play the guy, D. Eskridge, you drafted in the top 100 to play wide receiver. You liked him enough to draft him in the top 100 players picked. Play him, period. End of discussion. You made the bed. You got to play him. And if he can't stay healthy, you signed a guy to play that position when D. Eskridge isn't healthy. So then play that guy. Like, you've doubled and made yourself safe, and then you proceeded to screw it both up and then trade for a guy who the Eagles fans are literally cheering that they got rid of him. Like guys, like, it's not a good process. But please don't play Whiteside, is what I'm saying. Please don't play Whiteside, and please play Drew Lock.
Kevin, any comment on the trade?
Yeah, no, I fully agree with Sean. It just kind of goes to what we've said about Pete Carroll, just not understanding 2022 NFL, to be honest, as a whole. He's never understood his whole philosophy on wide receiver is like just confusing as shit to me. Like, I mean, yes, he's found DK Metcalf and Tyler, but as Sean already mentioned, like, you go and you draft these guys and you like never give them a shot. And then you go get like guys who are like second or third string dudes from other,
he played Tyler and DK. He's drafting guys and then never playing them. And I'm like, they can't be the next guy if you don't play them.
Yep. And then it's just a waste of time. And then people that then he like roster decisions and stuff like that. Then he cuts people that probably should have made the team that then go somewhere else and then like make a splash like what Desir did and stuff like that, to make room for a guy that's like never going to play. It's like I said, as a whole, it just adds on to the fact that Pete Carroll just doesn't know what he's doing. And the fact that it's funny to see so many 12s like crap their pants after losing the second preseason game, and then some of them wanting Pete Carroll's head. And it's like, you want Pete Carroll's head now versus when he traded your elite Hall of Fame quarterback that gives you the only shot to actually have a winning season. Like, scratch my head at that. It's going to be a fun season to watch Seahawks, like the 12s on Twitter. It's like, get your popcorn. It's going to be great. Just to see the sheer stupidity that we're going to see this season.
Like, I'll say this, like, was Drew Lock good last year for either of you two? Like, was he good when he played for Denver? Was he a good player? No. His grade and efficiency was 60. Whiteside's average grade over 3 seasons is 57. Like, I get that grades aren't NLBL, but that's kind of like the context we're looking at here. It's like, he's worse than Drew Lock on average. And it's just like, what upside is left at this point? Like, it's 3 seasons of this.
Pete Carroll thinks he can like mold them into something better. Which...
you want to know the worst part is? He's a really good run blocking wide receiver. That's probably why they got him. Like, I'm like, oh gosh. Ugo is a position you needed. You need corners, and you traded it for a 5th receiver, man.
Yep. Which is funny because Pete doesn't understand like elite passing game either. So it's like
you You drafted 2 corners who I'm super pumped for. They need to play. You're turning Blair into a corner. You have Trey Brown, who you drafted a couple years ago. You have Sidney Jones. Like, you have like guys that are unproven, but you have some potential. And you have Ugo, who needs to get playing time. And you could cut Jaron Reed, Michael Jackson, Jameis Houston, Williams. Like, why are you cutting Ugo? Ugo plays safety and corner, and you're I don't.
And he's good on special teams.
I just don't get it. I just
which is
don't
like
get
Pete's
it.
like little like it's an O face for. So,
And I like John Reed out of Penn State too, but I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think the move matters at all either way.
It doesn't matter, but it's the process. That's the whole point.
I mean,
it's bad process.
I get your point. I don't care either way. I don't think JJ's making the team. I don't think Ugo was going to make the team. I think it's just kind of a net wash.
Why shouldn't Ugo make the team? Is what I'm asking you.
I think there's a crowded cornerback room with Trey Brown, Kobe Bryant, Tariq Woolen, Sidney Jones, Artie Burns, and John Reed. So
cut Artie Burns and cut Michael Jackson.
I'm just saying, I didn't think he's going to make the team anyway, so I don't really see, and I don't think JJ's going to make the team, so I don't really think it's going to matter at the end of the day.
Cut the worst guy on the team, Justin Coleman. Why are you?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't think either's going to make the team, so I don't really.
Well, especially after last season when we were like hurting for corners, like because we had so many injuries. You'd think this year you want to stack corner.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 corners right now. Why did you cut your 5th corner?
One's got to play nickel.
Yeah, why did you cut your 5th corner?
I don't really think he's going to be on the team. All I'm saying is I don't think it matters. Like neither player was going to be on the team.
It doesn't matter if either player is going to be on the team. He should have been on the team. It doesn't matter what that's what I'm saying. That goes bad process for Pete Carroll. Why was he going to cut Ugo?
I can't answer that question for Pete. I just don't think either player is gonna make the team. So I don't think it matters regardless.
And that's what I'm saying. It's bad process. It's bad. It was bad player assessment. I don't know if Ugo is even making the Eagles, but I'm just saying it's bad process.
Okay.
Like just Coleman's just straight bad. Like, why is he on this team? He's gonna play. You know he's gonna play.
Maybe. I don't know. But let's talk about this Friday. They are at the Cowboys for their final preseason game. Is there anything that either of you want to see? I'm going to start with this one. I said it when we were talking about the other 2 preseason games. I do want to see Drew Lock get in there. I'd like to see him start. I don't care if it's with the ones. I'd prefer it to be with the ones, but I'm not sure what the plan is for who's trying to make the team or whatnot. So get him in there, get him some reps in the first half. And, I'm not really sure where the quarterback competition is. It's really hard to tell at this point. I would just be very upset to see Geno Smith out there starting week 1.
It looks like it's Geno Smith right now.
I mean, it's kind of up in the air. I don't think either of them have won the competition, and no one has been announced. So I don't want it to be Geno. But if it is, I don't think it's going to get much worse either way. So
the clear money's on Geno right now, but based on Pete's comments in the practice today, clear money's on Geno.
So yeah, he was out with COVID against the Bears. So at the very least, you got to give him this start. He was scheduled to start against the Bears. Give him the start. Just see what he's got, and then he'll announce the starter, I imagine, like the week before. So we'll see what happens. That's really all I want to see is Drew Lock out there. Get the young guys some reps, but I don't want to see them out there super long. Maybe a couple series at most.
Sean, the young guys, like who's the young guys?
Like the rookies that you just drafted, a couple second-year players. Maybe throw Eskridge out there, see he's healthy. Like
play him the whole game. Who cares? You have to see who they are. Play him.
Sure. Sean, what do you want to see?
They need a tackle. They suck. Like they're absolutely awful at tackling. Like that was horrible. Blair Walsh Marquise Blair, you've got to pull your head out. Like I'm a fan of yours, I still am, but you've been horrible. You've been absolutely horrible. I will say this: I saw a stat that had efficiency ratings for running plays in the preseason, and the Seahawks are. I think I showed it to Kevin too. The Seahawks are amazing. They are by far the best team in football at efficiency rating. and the Seahawks have been outscored by 23 points. That's not going to get it done. That is unsustainable efficiency for running, and it's not going to win you games. If you're like you're literally the best running team ever, you will still lose a lot of games with how bad your defense has been and how bad your passing game has been. So I need your defense to play better, tackle, and you need to complete passes. You have to complete some big passes because you could be the best running team ever and you'll lose every game if you continue with doing the other two phases the way you are. So with that said, though, honestly, play JJ. Play in the whole game. You need to figure out because you've already got Eskridge is going to play, Tyler, DK, Marquise is going to be on your team, those 4 guys. Figure it out right now with JJ and if he's over Freddie Swain or not. And Bo Melton's kind of shown a little bit of things. The guy too. Please don't this be your Pierre Desir and cut the guy who's kind of been doing nice things for you. And play those 2 guys. I need JJ and Bo playing opposite sides. Maybe get like Matthew said, get Eskridge a snap or 2, just get him some game reps because he's healthy again. But then take him out and then play those 2 kids the whole game. And whoever's the quarterback, they need to play with one quarterback and then you play with the other quarterback. Like play with both, and then go from there. Tackles, play both tackles for a little bit, but then I don't need to see anything more from them too. They've been great. Don't pull them and play Stone Forsythe, who's actually been pretty good. I give the crap for the other 2 guys. D and the corner. Now I forgot his name. I already said his name once.
Trey Brown.
Trey Brown. Yeah. But then Stone Forsythe looked pretty good. Granted against third stringers. But he's looked good. So let him play against maybe some second string guys for Dallas and play Jake on the other side and see what you have there. I want to see those 2 play. And then just linebackers do anything. And anything. I just need somebody. Whoever 48 is. I don't know. Joel DeBlanco,
Aberdeen native.
Who?
Aberdeen native. Joel DeBlanco.
Yeah, you cut him now. Like that was a horrible. I went online. They're like, who is number 48? Oh, it might be the worst game I've ever seen a player play. I'm not gonna lie, Matty. I'm so sorry that you covered.
Oh no, I'm just saying he's an Aberdeen native. Like I don't know how good he is.
I'm so sorry, but he stood out. I think I saw on Reddit. I was like, I wonder what Reddit thinks about this. And
I know he signed like a week into training camp.
Yeah,
so
I know that's probably it too. But the first comment I saw on Reddit was, "Who is number 48 and why is he playing so much?" And I was like, I thought the same thing. I watched the game. I was like, why is 48 screwing up every single thing he does? But we traded Ugo instead of cut it. But that's fine. Okay, so yeah, that's what I want to see. Tackle.
Kevin, what do you want to see?
Pete Carroll quit, but I mean, we're not gonna get that, sadly. Pretty much kind of everything that Sean kind of mentioned there. I'll probably be I'm off, so I'm actually gonna be able to watch this game. So I'm a little excited. Special teams I'll probably be looking at too a lot just to kind of see what that's about. I want to see people get some different gunner aspects. Who's doing returns for us right now? Like
it shifts a bunch of times. So we've had a couple guys back there.
I like to see something like established there. Because I mean, like Pete Drowsey's guys that are like Penny and then Lockett, they were fucking phenomenal returners in college, and then you're like, I'm gonna use them a little bit, and then I'm just gonna give it to some random. I've been seeing
Cade Johnson the most, but I honestly I usually skim through the special team stuff, the kicks, the kickoff, the punts, because I don't care. So who cares? You have your kicker and you have your punter. I don't care about anything else because there's no competition. You have Dixon and you have Myers.
I'll be interested to see mixed up I don't know, like I didn't get to see much from the highlights. So I'm looking forward to seeing the 3-4 setup and like what different coverage schemes they're going to be doing, or if it's just the same old bull crap but in a 3-4 lineup. I want to see a little bit of versatility there from Pete versus predictability that Sean McVay's just going to tear up twice this year because it's predictable. As Sean mentioned, I want to see Eskridge for a little bit, and then I want to see the young kids just fly out there. There's no point in having Tyler and DK. I'd like to see a lot of Locke just because I rather you know what you have in Gino. You know what you have. Like you don't know what you have in Eason and Locke. So I think Drew should start the game, and then Easton should get the second half, to be honest. And then you kind of go from there. But I know, as we've mentioned probably 87 times on this podcast, Pete Carroll doesn't know how to assess talent. So he'll mess up the decision, clearly, because he doesn't know how to assess talent. He'll pick the wrong person to start. Even though it doesn't really matter, because all three of them, it's like choosing from vomit, poop, and bacteria. Like, I mean, they're all not going to do you well. Russell Wilson's going to come in week 1 and poop down our throats, and he should. And I will be enjoying every moment of it. Even though I'm a Seahawks fan, like, I want to see that. I saw a thing on Colin Cowherd today, which was actually funny, that like by, I think he was like week 7, October something, he's like, you're going to learn who won the divorce, because the Seahawks will be like 1-6, maybe 2-5 at most. And then, though I disagree, because he was like, oh, the Denver's going to be like 6-1. I'm like, no, Denver's not in that division. They'll probably be like 4-2, I imagine. I think they're going to lose. Yeah, they might be the Chargers, but their beginning schedule is, by then you're going to see that Russell won out for the most part. Down, I mean, time will tell, especially with his success with Denver and stuff like that. But you'll immediately notice, like, 12 fan will be begging for Pete Carroll's head, and yeah, so that's kind of more or less what I want to see.
All right. Well, our NFL preview will be our next episode, the Seahawks preview as well. So tune in for that. But let's talk about the Seattle Mariners. And since we have been away, let's kind of recap where they have been at. So they took on the Yankees last we were on the air, and they took 2 of 3. Then they went to Texas and took 1 of 3. Went to LA. I was able to watch all these games, and they swept the Angels. And then their most recent series was in Oakland, and they had 1 win out of 3 games. Currently sitting at 66 and 56. I believe that is the best in the AL wildcard. No, it is not. It is 3rd in the AL wildcard standings. So, Sean, what have you thought of the Mariners these last couple weeks?
They've been fine. Like, people are freaking out. They're like, oh my gosh, they lost a series to Oakland. They went 7-5 in 2 weeks. They went 2 games above 500. They're increasing their win percentage. Like, they're not losing ground. They're not playing like the Yankees or, where the Yankees are just falling apart. They're still playing decent baseball. They're 6-4 in their last 10, according to this, and last 2 weeks are 7-5 over here. Like, I know that some people want, like, to dominate all these bad teams. You don't have to dominate them all the time, because that's not realistic. Like, Oakland A's are going to win 50 games this year. That's just how baseball goes. Like, the worst teams in baseball history are going to win 50 games. You just don't want to get swept. They didn't get swept. They lost a game in overtime. I know it sucked. It was frustrating. But Mariner fans, you need to relax. Like, this last week, they went 4-2. Just this last week. The sky is falling every time. The world is ending. They went 4-2. Like, it's gonna be fine. Like, yes, they need to probably win some more series, but when you sweep the Angels, it gives you a little buffer ground. When you dominate the Yankees, it gives you a little buffer ground. Like, you're fine. Since the last time we talked, their win percentage is higher than it was before. That's all you need. Go 6-4 each week, because if you go 6-4, you're guaranteed to make the playoffs. If you even stay 500, you're probably guaranteed to make the playoffs. But if you do, like, sweep a team, then lose 2 out of 3 the next team, sweep a team, 2 out of 3, that's a good thing. As long as you're going above 500 each week, that's really good, because you're going to keep increasing that percentage. Because right now, what are they on pace for? A 90-win season?
I think so.
90 wins will get you the playoffs. And if each week you're winning more than you lose, you're gonna be more than 90 wins. You're gonna be more than 90 wins. You're gonna be more than 90 wins. So you'll be fine. You'll be fine. We're playing Washington and Cleveland. Everyone's like, oh, we're playing winning teams next. I'm like, yeah, these are the teams. Cleveland is the team that's in the hunt. You could bury Cleveland here in a little bit. You control. We talked about this. You control your own destiny. It's fine. I think they're playing fine. Ty France is a little nicked up. Their pitching's been decent. Their hitting kind of came back. They actually hit a bunch of baseballs. So I think it's been fine. It's been the same as always. It's just like the last couple days, everyone's like the sky is falling. They hate us. It's just like it's over. Everything's done. I'm like, we've given up an average of 4 runs the last 2 games. It's okay. It's okay.
Kevin, what have you thought?
Yes. It is to Sean's point, I agree a little bit. It is okay. It just though means that they have to be cleaner going forward. You have, because that the wild card race is tight, and yes,
they didn't lose any ground in the wild card since 2 weeks ago.
True, but you also have teams that are kind of up there with you now, with Baltimore going ape shit.
Baltimore
2.5 back.
Team. Yeah, they've stayed the same. They have to play Tampa Bay and Toronto, so I'm not worried about Baltimore.
Right.
Baltimore, one of the 3 teams will be out.
The Twins are also 3 back, and so are the White Sox.
Chicago's 4 back.
And those 2 play each other.
What I'm saying, I know, but what I'm saying is you have so many teams on your heels. Nip. They are going to play each other, yes, but you're also going to.
Yeah, so one will have to lose.
Correct, but that's the thing. But there's 3 teams, and then 2 teams, and then you, and there's only 3 spots. If you took 1 or 2 teams out of that run, it's a little. They do have leniency, yes. I agree. If they keep on pace, they probably have a good chance. They better their chances though if they do be a little bit cleaner. As we've already mentioned, against poop teams, you do have to try to win those series. Yes, they are paid to play baseball. They're going to win games. It is going to happen. They are a little bit banged up. Ty France was day-to-day for a couple days this week. Mitch Haniger is starting to kind of get his groove back a little bit. He had a good last 2 games were pretty solid for him. He's starting to become a little bit more, it's just there's only so many games left, and you cannot now, your leniency to lose a series against a bad team is going against you, so to speak. In my opinion, you probably have to now start winning those series against them. You don't have to do a sweep, but you need to at least at minimum start winning against, because as you said, we do have the Braves, we still have San Diego, we still have the Nationals are still kind of.
The Nationals are the worst team in baseball.
Yeah, I know.
like,
but I mean, they still can do things. They can win against you, and
they literally have nobody.
They've got Papa Cruz.
He's dog duty this year, Kevin.
He is, but he hit a home run yesterday.
His 10th. like he's been bad. But what I'm saying though is, Kevin, let's eliminate New York from that. They went 5-4 against bad teams. Now that might not be the best thing, but it's still, they won the 3 series. Combined between the 3 series, they won more games than they lost against those 3 bad teams.
But they did lose 2 series against 2 bad
but
teams.
It doesn't matter. You swept the Angels. So you went 5-4 against those 3 teams,
which gave you the leniency to lose against them.
Yes.
Now that at the same time is luck factor as well. Like you just got lucky that you swept.
No, they kicked the crap out of the Angels.
I know the Angels are a hot fucking pile of garbage right now.
The Oakland got lucky that they beat the Mariners. Is probably more accurate.
True, but I mean, there's, like I said, it's baseball. They're paid to play. There's luck into it. You do the main thing is do yourselves the favor of not having to be so tight, cringe, people on your heels, nip, and win those series. Like going forward, your leniency to lose those series makes it to where you're in a more tough spot and more in a cringe spot to possibly be out of the wild card spot.
Yeah.
Now you need to start winning. I mean, could they lose a series or 2 going forward? Yeah. And they still probably would have a good shot being in it. But do you want to put yourselves in that position to where you're stress balling at the end, to where you got to be in a now we got to win situation? Or do you want to be like, a week out from playoffs and you've kind of already locked up a spot as one of the wild card teams? I think that's a little bit better, to where you could rest some guys. and do certain things a little bit differently to where you're at a more healthier spot than versus, oh, we got to win right now to make wild card last minute, kind of like what we did back in 2018 when we were going against the A's when we had to win and then we lost.
We had to catch them. We're in the lead.
Yeah, well, that was last year, I think, though, too.
No, like right now we're in the lead. 2018, we were always behind Oakland. We're ahead of Oakland. We are the team that's better now.
But I'm just saying, like, we don't want to be in that position to where, like, in the final 3 games, we have to win a certain amount to make the wild card. We should be like a lock. I'd rather just have that lock in to where we've already, at worst, if we lose them all, we have the 3rd wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to do that.
Like, do yourselves the favor to rest later, play hard now to where you could rest later before playoffs and then push hard in playoffs, is what I'm saying. Do yourselves the favor now for the future.
Well, like we were talking about, like, well, Cleveland, Minnesota, Chicago, one of the teams is going to win the division, so they don't matter in the playoff in for us, because one of them has to win it. So it's like Baltimore right now. It's Baltimore, Minnesota, Chicago, right?
Tampa Bay's in there. Yeah.
Well, no, but it doesn't matter if they go because there's 3 wild card spots. So Tampa Bay, I don't care which spot we get. It doesn't matter. But like Baltimore and Chicago play each other next 3-game series. One of them has to lose. The Twins, they go to Houston. They're probably going to get run over. The Blue Jay, they play the Red Sox, who are 2 games below 500 still, and the Guardians have to go to San Diego. Like, it's these teams still have to play each other. We have a really easy schedule, and all these, like Baltimore and Tampa Bay, have to play these harder teams. So we do have the leeway. You are right. We have to win our games.
Yeah.
Yes, but they will lose. Like, we have a bigger, like, that's why we have a 90% chance of the playoffs right now, because that was the hard part where people a couple of years ago were like, oh man, we had, like last year, like, we had this chance. I go, yes, I know we're at like this spot here, but the problem is we have to leapfrog 4 people. And the problem is those 2 of those teams play each other. And while we're in a reverse situation, while that's good that one team has to lose, that means for sure one of those teams had to win. Now we're above them and now it's complete opposite. Goes, yes, one of these teams is going to win, but one is definitely going to lose. And one could even leapfrog us, so we're still fine, but one is going to lose. So as long as the 2 teams around us are playing each other, that means for sure one is going to lose. Now, what the worst part is, honestly, if the Yankees don't suck since the All-Star break, we're probably basically in the playoffs. The Yankees have basically played the Blue Jays. They played Baltimore. They played every team we've needed to lose, and they have lost every game. The Yankees have made this a race for us because the Yankees cannot beat anybody at this point. So I was hoping that, like, we were rooting for the Yankees and the Astros just to dominate all the teams we needed to, because we don't play them anymore. Like, just beat everybody because every wildcard team that we're against, they have to play those 2 teams. Just the Yankees can't figure out how to freaking get anybody out at this point. But yes, like, but if we play like 7-5, 6-4, we will make the playoffs, because those teams will lose games because they have to. Somebody has to lose those games.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where the Mariners are right now. Actually, the last couple of weeks, of course, they've won more than they lost. I don't know many people who expect the Mariners to be in this position at this point in the season. So really kind of playing with house money, it feels like. Now, I guess I'm not in the same Twitter sphere as you guys. I haven't really seen the gloom and doom for the Mariners like you guys have, apparently. But it's certainly not unfounded based on the last 21 years. But I think at this point, like Sean has said, they are in the driver's seat. They control their own destiny. Now, have they pulled the rug out from under us before? Absolutely. But
when did they pull the rug out?
The last 20 years.
No, when did they pull the rug out?
The last 20 years. Last 20 years.
When? At what point did they?
Last year.
No. See, you got nothing.
No,
they were never in a wild card spot last year. No. See, take the massive L. They were not in the wild card spot. They were not in the spot.
Take the L for the last 20 years. Okay.
No, that's not. See, you're just making shit up now.
Take the L out. Yeah, Sean. Yeah. Okay.
You're just making shit up.
You're making it up.
You lost. No, because they were never in this position. Were they in this position? Answer the question. No,
I don't know, and they haven't been in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Yes, I was right. You're wrong. Move on. Let's go.
Sure. Okay. So, anyway, I understand Mariners' skepticism, especially when things start to seem to go south. But At this point, like I said, like they are exceeding expectations, and
28.
even if they don't make the playoffs, it will be sad, yes, that they do not make the playoffs again. But I think that, like you guys have mentioned before on this podcast, this should bode well for hopefully next year and the future years. So while I would love the Mariners to make the playoffs, and I will be watching and rooting for them as hard as I can, we all know that I think a stat that they're like 90% chance to make the playoffs, but that feels like a big 10% for the Mariners. So I am very happy with this, how the season has gone. And if they make the playoffs, that is super awesome. Break the streak.
When was the
Great.
last time they were at 90%? When was the last time they were at 90%?
I don't know. You can tell me.
So
2002. 2002.
to agree with Matthew, because Sean is wrong, 2018 Mariners were in position for a wild card spot. And
When?
they lost. They had 89 wins on the season, bro.
They were playing. They were behind Oakland. They were not in the position.
They were behind Oakland by a half a game. They were neck and neck with Oakland.
They needed somebody to lose, and they had to win. They weren't in the driver's seat. They had to have help. They
were in the driver's seat because Oakland started out butt ass for the first 2 months and then went on a hot winning. They went on like an 18-game winning streak.
But in like August, we were behind them. We're playing catch up at the end of the year every
That's because
single year.
Went ape shit in the summer.
It doesn't matter. But in August,
we were in
behind.
position.
We're always behind in August.
We were behind by like half a game to them.
That's not 90%, is it? Like.
So right now, if we're in the 4th spot, being behind half a game to fucking, let's say, Toronto, we're not in the winning spot.
We're not 90%, are we?
Like if it's a half a game. Because
we're not
there's so many, because that's the thing, but you're not putting it into account is the amount of winning percentage in the American League. Because because you had 3 teams out of 1 division go.
Baltimore is what? How many games out are they?
2.5.
2.5.
What's their percentage to go to the playoffs right now?
I don't know.
4%. It's 4. What's the Twins?
Here, Sean, let me explain it to you this way. I don't care what the percentages are. This team has to make it for me to believe they can make it at this point. That is all I am saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they're
in the driver's seat right now.
Been in this position. This is new. They have not let somebody down like this.
Exactly. So this would be an even bigger letdown now, wouldn't it?
The percentages of win percentage like matter in the last week. With being a month out with so many games left, I don't. With them only being down 2.5 games, that doesn't matter nearly.
The Mariners won 14 in a row. They could. Much as I hate to say this, they could easily win or lose that many more in a row in September.
They already did.
So this is not that 90% number. I don't care. I don't care about that.
I'm not saying it definitely matters, but I'm not saying it's a lot. It's absolutely not. But the problem is why the others are so low is because they have to play each other. That's the thing.
I understand that. But there is a way the Mariners
absolutely
pull it up and be out of the playoffs again.
There's a way the Yankees to not make the playoffs.
I know. That would be hilarious, and I would love that.
Well, that's not going to happen. It's still 99%.
I mean, wouldn't that be awesome, though?
It would be, but that would be a lot.
That would break the analytics brains, I'm pretty sure. But
anyway. You could bet against it if you want.
I'm not going to. But
okay, then
all I'm saying is regardless if they make the playoffs this season, it has been a fun season and the future looks good. So if they break our hearts again, it's unfortunate, but hopefully that streak will end much sooner rather than later. So let's talk a little bit about a minor league update. Does anybody have any minor league updates? I was thinking about going to a Rainiers game to maybe see Jared Kelnick, but just haven't done it yet. So is there any minor league updates? Kevin, do you have any for us?
I'll let Sean take it because I already know what he posted in.
Okay.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that. I was looking up somebody. Here, let me go with that. I just posted something today.
I'll pull it up from the group.
Okay.
So pitcher of the week from the Aqua Sox, Brian Wu.
No, that's not from the Aqua Sox. That's from minor league baseball.
Yeah, we're doing a prospect.
Yeah,
I'm just saying this is not prospect just from the Aqua Sox team. It's from
Yeah, no,
All of
of minor league
Mhm.
baseball. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
pitch of the week in minor league baseball. Just saying he's from the Aqua Sox. Brian
Yeah.
Wu, 6 innings, 0 runs, only 2 walks, 11 Ks. Pretty dang good. And then also player of the week, Caden Polchevic, in Double-A with the Travelers. 476 average. That doesn't matter. Average doesn't mean shit. 10 hits, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. Not shabby.
Not too bad.
Shabby.
Not too bad.
I mean, it's good to see, like, once you trade, people away, that your other prospects start stepping up and, like, stuff like that. And I'll let Sean go into the shortstop that took Arroyo's place.
Oh yeah, I gotta find him. Axel Sanchez.
That's a great name. I think we should
Yeah.
promote him just based on that name alone. honestly.
We did because his WRC plus was over 200 in A ball. So he's at a high A ball now. You could see him if you go the Dust Devils or the Aqua Sox, Matthew. Yeah, we traded Edwin Arroyo, and then Axel Sanchez went absolutely bananas at 19 years old, and they're like, okay, you're done here. Your WRC plus is 200. For those contexts, 100 is average. He's literally twice as good as the next player. I've barely ever seen a 200 in anything. So they're like, you are going to high A. And so he's been there for 8 games now. He hasn't played well, but he's been there for 8 games. He has 20 at bats. So, I mean,
Nice.
it is what it is. But yeah, he's been good. Yeah, that's who I've been really watching.
All right. Well, we got to end on one final topic. Sean, you are going to Ichiro weekend this weekend. How excited are you to see the Mariners live this season, as well as Ichiro? I assume he's getting a statue somewhere. I don't know what they're entirely doing, but
I gotta be honest, I forgot who they're playing this weekend. Who are they playing?
Cleveland.
Oh, okay, that's right. I am. Who is it? Who is like rumored to be the starter? Does anyone know?
You're going Saturday?
Yeah.
Castillo and Plesac.
Ooh, Castillo, Plesac. Ooh, I had him in fantasy too. I had him. Don't have him anymore. Obviously, I see why. I just looked at his numbers. Okay. Yeah. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Ooh, that's on FS1 too. Look at that. Picked a good game to go to. Nationally televised game.
All right. Well, if you see Sean in the crowd, please tweet at him. He is at Sean_Beatty. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Kev's at C to believe, SEA to believe on Twitter. Like our videos, dislike our videos, comment on YouTube. Tell us what you think of the Mariners' playoff chances, what you want to see in the final preseason game for the Seahawks against the Cowboys. Next time we will have our NFL preview. We'll give some predictions and we'll see where the Mariners are at. But until next time, we will see you then on Washington, East to West Sports. Goes without saying, bring back our summons.